something else, what basic skills, what foundational pieces already need to be in place so you don't have to teach that. You can just teach the next transformation they need. I don't want to teach people how to communicate and sell. We talk a lot about selling, but I want to teach people how to build that high ticket mastermind, which means I don't need to be like, you should really.
Yo, what is up? This is Christian D. Evans, host of Journey with Christian D. Evans podcast. And I just want to share with you real quick, thank you. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. It really means a lot to us, but also our community. And, if you like this, please share this with your friend, your family, a colleague, someone that you don't even like. Definitely share that with them. And then also leave a comment and a review for us. We really do appreciate that. And show our guests some love if you find that this episode really resonates with you. Secondly, also want to share with you some really awesome news. I've had the fortunate opportunity to network and have incredible guests, 8 and 9 figure entrepreneurs, CEOs, and founders on our podcast. And what we've done is we've actually been able to open up a Be Uncommon If You Can Mastermind, where we're able to open up the door for so many of you, right? Those that are 6-figure, 7-figure entrepreneurs that are scaling, that are struggling, that really want to level up their game, their business, their life, whatever it is. I'm able to open up that door for you with this Be Uncommon If You Can Mastermind. Now, we're only taking a select few of individuals. So what you'll need to do is go to christiandeevans.com/mastermind now. And the link is actually in the description as well. Guys, that is christiandeevans.com/mastermind now. We're only opening this up for a select few of individuals that really want to level up their game. You have a conversation with me, see if you qualify. And guys, enjoy the episode. And remember, be uncommon if you can. Cheers. Thank you so much for tuning into Journey with Christian D. Evans podcast. My name is Christian D. Evans, your host. And guys, we have someone very special. He told me to keep it very small, very quick, but I do want to let you know that he has an incredible amount of skills and expertise, and I'm very excited to really dive into some incredible content. He is a speaker. He is a mastermind guru. He's also a course creator. Guys, let me just tell you, he's spent most of his time working with entrepreneurial business experts, speakers, coaches, and leaders, helping them market, monetize, and lead their own high-ticket mastermind or group coaching programs. As the world continues to shift, many experts are trying to build high-ticket groups for digital income, lead generation, or impact. This is where he is an expert at doing that. My friend, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my guest, Chris Williams. How you doing, my man?
Christian, I'm doing awesome, man. I'm so glad to be here. For those of you who aren't like watching, you're just listening in, Christian is freaking standing out on the deck in his house in Florida, and it's like so making me jealous. I just want some sunshine, buddy. That's amazing.
Well, hey, I appreciate you joining, man. And of course, you can come on down, enjoy this beautiful sunshine with me. But let's kind of dive into some of this stuff, because what's incredible is obviously your experience, but also obviously kind of seeing where the trajectory is going, right? Course coaches, all this stuff is not going away anytime soon. But we really had to maximize masterminds at the higher level. Everybody wants to join a mastermind, create a mastermind, this and that. But obviously, you're an expert at really getting the most high level content in there. So if you would, before we jump into that, what's your journey like? How did you get to this position where you're at now, man?
Good question. So I went down the wrong path accidentally, but I did it with all my heart. So I was an expert and realized, oh my gosh, I figured out how to do something. For me, it was leading and building a digital agency, all right, digital marketing agency, work with surgeons and subspecialties. No big mystery there. But I figured out how to do that and scale it and grow it at a really high level and only work an hour and a half a week. I literally read Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week, and I did it. Everybody's like, oh, I've read it, doesn't work, it's hype. Nope, just read it, do it, it works. Once I figured it out, everybody was like, Chris, how'd you do that? And I realized enough people were asking me, hey, here's how you're cracking that code. We want to know how to do that. I realized I could sell that information. So I originally kind of thought that I had to be an expert in like marketing, and then I would teach marketing. But it turns out the best expertise you and I can both sell, Christian, anybody else listening in, your expertise is what you're passionate about and what you're crushing, because that's the thing that people probably see in you right off and be like, oh my gosh, that's different. What's that? So we started selling and teaching people in e-courses how to get their life back and work less and make more. We completely failed. We launched 5 e-courses, spent over $100K in ads alone, let alone the funnel build costs and all that. I sold 1 e-course. $1997, almost $2,000. The dude who bought it never even logged in. All right. Christian, I'm still convinced it was my wife Jill buying it under a fake name just to make me feel better. All right. So, what happened next to get into masterminds? Well, I joined a mastermind. I joined Russell Brunson's high ticket mastermind there in Boise, Idaho, with the man himself and 50 other people. They were just freaking awesome. First 30 minutes in, we're all introducing ourselves, telling them what we do. I just told them that story and they're like, cool, man, we all want to learn how to not work. So how's the mastermind? I was like, it's great. Been here a couple minutes. You guys are great. No, Chris, we meant, how's your mastermind? I was like, guys, I'm a mastermind. I'm freaking doing e-courses like y'all are all teaching me to do on your e-courses. Like, oh, no, man, that's in our funnel. No, we all started this whole thing by building our own masterminds, selling at a high level, understanding who the buyer is, getting paid to build all the curriculum, and then launching it into some sort of repeatable digital product. And I was like, oh my gosh. I hired 2 of them. They taught me how to build a mastermind. 7 weeks later, I had a full mastermind and we were off to the races. And that's what we did.
That's incredible, man. I mean, just to see that journey, and I've heard a lot of people that when they jumped into Russell Brunson's kind of, culture, right? All of a sudden their business exploded. But let me ask you this in regards to this, because obviously I know that I know the ticket price on that, and it's probably going up tremendously. What was that journey like, just from that to, you're saying, hey, I'm gonna take the leap of faith and jump into this mastermind. You have no idea what it is. You don't know if you're gonna get value from it. Obviously, those kind of mindset questions were probably coming up. How did you overcome that, and obviously find the money to be able to invest into it?
Yeah. So the fence, man, I was on the fence. Like I was such a like a slow buyer. And that's probably just me. I'm pretty skeptical. We've all been in the marketing world for a while. You hear the hype, but is it really real? So you're fixing to drop like new car money, house down payment money on what seems like nothing, just air. Why can't I read the book and watch the YouTube videos and figure it out, right? I mean, I tried all that. You just can't. There's something different about being in a room with a group of committed entrepreneurs on the same journey that have paid the same kind of commitment to get in the group. We're all there to get something done. We're not wasting our money and time. With an expert who knows how to guide you along in the process. That's transformation. Christian, I've been in the therapy community for a while as a patient healing from some stuff in my life in the past. We've all got stories, right? A therapist told me one time at a group therapy program, I was like, this is amazing. Like I'm learning more, changing faster than I ever have before in one-on-one therapy. And she was like, yeah, group coaching, group therapy, group work changes most people 5 times faster than one-on-one consulting ever does. If you want to rapidly change your life or someone else's, build a group or join a group. So one more thing to answer your question. What was the journey like, the decision-making process like to join Russell's group? First time ever. It was really hard. And I asked friends, I was like, who do you know has been in this group? I got referrals. Like, I just wanted to make sure, and I would recommend this to anybody, make sure that the group you're joining is for real. We've all heard of or been in crappy mastermind groups. You got to know, is this for real? Don't just look at their own testimonial page. I got a huge testimonial page on my website, but y'all don't know if I made that up or not. Like, reach out to those people, ask them, whoever's group you're looking to join, like, it's a real deal. Don't forget the money. You don't want to waste a year of your entrepreneurial journey on something that's a dead end street. But once I made the commitment, I went in kind of with like, okay, I make the commitment, I'm all in. I got to just do what they say to do. And fortunately, I picked a good group. I don't know how else to say it. The only other thing I'd add there, Christian, is it's the people in the group that matter. The group leader's job, or whatever mastermind you folks join, is to curate a really good group. And ClickFunnels does a really good job of that. So get a really good group, make sure it's a small group. Don't join somebody's mastermind that has 1,000 people in it or 100 people in it. I promise you that's not what you want. You want a group that's small enough where y'all can all sit down and talk and crack codes. 50 people is kind of the high end, max end of that. And honestly, if you can get down in the 20, 30 people groups or less, you're doing even better.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay, and I've actually never heard of that specifically, Chris, when you said group is actually better than one-on-one. And I find that very interesting. So let's kind of dive into that. Why is that? Why is that kind of result, and what kind of result can you get definitely when you kind of switch that paradigm?
Yeah. A couple of reasons that group are better than one-on-one. And this is, again, true for entrepreneurial learning. It's true in the university setting. It's true in the therapy setting. Okay. Being alone and learning alone, just trying to consume information, or getting a one-on-one coach or consultant, like a tutor, or a Krav Maga instructor, or a karate instructor, whatever. One-on-one gets you somewhere. You're going to learn. You're going to be able to ask very pointed questions and have the expert's full attention. Everybody thinks that's the magic. It's actually not. The magic is I need to be in a group of 10, 15, 20, 30 other people who are all going through the same struggle, the same heartache, the same aha moments as me. Because so-and-so 3 seats over from me on the Zoom window or in person, they're going to ask a question that I'm like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't have even thought to ask that question until a month from now when I tripped over the same thing they just tripped over. I can avoid tripping because they already did and they already clarified for me. There's those kind of moments that are super helpful. Also, you hear the expert connecting dots in a way and ideas in a way in a group setting that you never hear one-on-one. If you're standing on a deck there, Christian, in your backyard in beautiful sunny Florida. I mean, folks, if you haven't seen where he's standing, it looks like he's got a green screen behind him, but it's just amazing. So if you're there and you're like, I want to learn how to build a deck, great. A rectangle deck with a hot tub on it with stairs down to the beach. Super cool. But I'm telling you what, if your next door neighbor was like, I kind of want an octagon and I want this part that wraps around to the front. Cool. Oh my gosh, that's a good idea. I want to do that too. Oh, but what if we did the next neighbor's like, I want an octagon wrap around to the front, but I also have this whole guest bedroom set that we Airbnb over here on the side. What if we connected a small deck to that and they had access to the grill area and the beach? Okay, now all of a sudden I'm like, oh shoot, I would have built a dumb square deck, but now I got something really cool. Group coaching programs do that when you're the member. Can I flip this over and talk about, like, what if you're the leader? Is that helpful, Christian?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. All right. So if you're the leader and you're doing one-on-one consulting or coaching or done for you program services, that's what I was doing. Done for you. Then I started doing one-on-one. And then I started into actually teaching the mastermind process. By the way, backstory there, we're doing done for you services for marketing for these surgeons, figured out how to do that very efficiently. Then we were trying to teach people, and I was doing one-on-one coaching on here's how to build a digital agency. Then we knew we wanted to go scale because my time was getting taken up again. That's why I started trying to do e-courses, realized it should be done in a mastermind setting. Our first mastermind set was all about just here's how to make more money and work less. 56% of the people in those groups asked us if we would show them how to build their own mastermind. That's where Group Coach Nation was born. So now all we do is teach experts how to build their own high ticket masterminds, right? Okay, that's the progression there. The reason I went down the path of mastermind was obviously to scale my time. That's the biggest pain point. I love this one-on-one consulting, making a ton of money, but oh my gosh, I'm trading dollars for hours. Even if you're charging $100,000 an hour, you're still trading time for money. Okay. Ultimately, putting 10 people at $100,000 an hour in the same room. Now we're making, what is that, $1 million an hour? These are just pick numbers, folks. It doesn't matter. Pick numbers for the illustration. There are masterminds that expensive. Don't worry. It's real out there. Now you're making $1 million an hour. Well, coolest thing is all those people are asking the same questions. You're like, no, but Chris, they have their own unique needs. They have their own special circumstances. Believe it or not, yeah, 5% of their circumstance is nuanced, but most of it is really basic fundamentals that a group helps them say, oh my gosh, I just see what so-and-so did. I want to do that. There's also built-in accountability and community and camaraderie. I'm a runner. I prefer to run with friends. It's really boring on a long distance ultra marathon by yourself. It's really fun when you got a running team. Anyway, does that help?
No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, that definitely does. And I'm glad you kind of dove into that, because honestly, I had a guy on the other day on our podcast, and I was talking to him like, how do you maximize your mentor, right? Because if you don't know the questions to ask, you don't know what you don't know. And what you basically did was just answer that question through the group side of things. And I think that was it really just hit a switch for me personally, and realizing the power of group. Now, one-on-one, you can't have that custom, but you can only grow so far. But obviously having everybody around you asking certain questions that you never thought of asking, that's just huge. And I like that. You just switched my paradigm on that. And let's kind of dive into a little bit. You say, developing a mastermind, right? A lot of our audience are individuals that are high six figures. They want to obviously go, 5, 7, $10 million businesses. And I know that in order to do that, you have to really leverage your time correctly through, leverage, process, systems, whatever, people, whatever. And I like to kind of dive into this. At what point should they start focusing on maybe developing the infrastructure of a mastermind? At what point in their business? Because obviously, we only have so much attention. So what would you suggest?
Yeah. So I would start leveraging when you're maxed out on time. You time for money. So when you kind of do it beforehand, right? If you're working 60 hours a week, and you should have started doing something to leverage your time when you were working 30 hours a week, right? Don't get maxed out. But if you're already maxed out, or you're going to that place, you're like, I know that people want what I got, and I know I could open the doors more and make more money, but I'd be trading hours. Okay. When you're there, that's the moment to start leveraging a mastermind, because it lets you scale rapidly. So Christian, here's the simple math on this. It's really not hard to make $1 million a year with a 90% profit margin in a mastermind. That's pretty basic mastermind, like nuts and bolts from the inside looking out. It's really doable. That's just $1 million a year in just a mastermind that might take you 3 to 4 hours a week to do. That's not a big deal, right? That's pretty good time for money swap. And that's at a relatively low end mastermind. If you're selling something for like 15, 20K a seat. And here's probably what's popping in a lot of your minds right now as you're listening in on Christian and I have this conversation. Okay, 15, 20K a seat. You're going to be in one of two camps. That's so much money. Or you're going to say, okay, so I should lower my one-on-one consulting fee and sell the group seats cheaper, right? Because they're getting less of me. Okay, let's talk about the first one first. It's not a lot of money. If 15K to 20K, I'm just picking a number out. I could have said $100,000, doesn't matter. If 15 to 20K is a lot in your mind, that's about you and your checkbook. That's not about your buyer's checkbook. That's a mind game. Also, if you're attracting people who freak out at 15 to 20K to change their lives, change their business, whatever, you got the wrong audience. Let's just make a shift and find the people who want the transformation you offer and are ready to take serious action and pay for it. Those people get a better transformation out of you anyway. Let's go back to this side here. If you're like, okay, Chris, I hear that. I'm not worried. I'm not scared of that price. So I'm downshifting and selling my thing less because it's a group seat instead of one-on-one. Okay, if that's what you just heard there, then tell me what price you're charging for your one-on-one and charge your mastermind seats at that level. They're not getting less of you. Like Christian just said, they're getting to maximize their coach. And being in a group is worth way more. They will get more and change faster in a group. So if anything, you should be charging more than you do for one-on-one. There's a lot of complication in this space, Christian, because a lot of coaches that we hear from stages say, I have a mastermind and it's 75K per person for a year, for 3 months or whatever. And I also have this one-on-one extreme, come visit your thing for 3 days that cost $1.5 million. They don't do that because they want to make $1.5 million in a weekend. That's not worth the time, quite frankly. They do it because they're trying to get people to say, I don't want to hire you one-on-one, just put me in your efficient group model. It's a way to shut the door. It's not what they really want to do. So we hear that and we think, oh, that's because one-on-one's worth more. No, it's not. That positioning is there to keep people from taking up time on their calendar.
Wow, that's incredible. I love that. I'm glad you kind of dove into that a little bit even further and separating that, because I do know a lot of people think 20 G's is like, oh gosh, it's a lot of money, or vice versa, and it's not. And obviously, decreasing that value. But in fact, you're actually giving more value, just like you said. So let's kind of dive into this a little bit. Okay. Imagine you want to create a mastermind. Obviously, I think many of us definitely listening to this podcast, a lot of my guests that are on my podcast, they've been to masterminds that all, let's be honest, suck, right? Some of them are really top notch, but sometimes you have to filter through the crap like anything, right? So let me ask you this: how do you facilitate the right mastermind to get the maximum? And I'm not just talking about being a guest to a mastermind, actually creating the mastermind and actually getting the best for your clients.
Oh, that's a big question. How do you create the right mastermind where your clients get the most transformation? That's magic. So here's where it's at. It comes down to group selection. I'm going to start there. There's a few other points I'll hit here in a second, but group selection is absolutely number one. At Group Coach Nation, again, we only teach experts, and they're all business experts. You got to be some sort of entrepreneurial money making or time saving efficiency expert. Like I don't deal with people who are life coaches or in the health and wellness space. It's just not my thing. We deal with experts and we teach them how to build high ticket masterminds. Let me give you our screening process for that. And everybody listening in, convert this to you. I'll try to give extra examples. So we're screening for mastermind participants because we know trial and error. That's what's going to make our mastermind successful. That's what's going to make each person in our mastermind successful. So everybody who joins our mastermind has to be three things. They have to, number one, be an expert in their space. They already have to be selling, done for you service, doing one-on-one coaching, maybe some loose group coaching, something like that, consulting, whatever. They're already selling and they're already recognized as an expert. Doesn't mean they have an authorship or they're already speaking on the biggest stage in the nation, but it means that they're proving that they know what they're talking about because people are swiping their credit card. All right. That's a big deal. Fill in the blanks for what your thing would be. Well, how would you categorize what makes someone in your space a perfect person for you to help do the next thing, right? Okay. Number two for us is they have to be an expert communicator. So Christian and I, right here on the show, we both freaking love cameras and microphones. All right. We're the kids that are stupid dumbasses in the classroom who are like jumping up from the back of the crowd trying to get our picture on the class camera picture, right? That's us. So our members have to be really good communicators because I teach people how to build high ticket masterminds. You can't build a mastermind if you don't like talking to people, right? And you got to be a good communicator. So that's a critical step for us. Again, think this through for your own. If you're teaching people how to do something else, what basic skills, what foundational pieces already need to be in place so you don't have to teach that. You can just teach the next transformation they need. I don't want to teach people how to communicate and sell. We talk a lot about selling, but I want to teach people how to build that high ticket mastermind, which means I don't need to be like, you should really comb your hair and look at the camera lens more often. That's not my group. Okay. Third thing is people in our group have to be natural givers. I think this should be a recommendation for everybody building their own group. You need natural givers in your group. In the space I teach to, building masterminds, you're going to have to learn that from me and then go build your own mastermind, which means you're going to be giving and investing to the people that you teach. That's one piece of giving. The other piece is I want you to be a natural giver in my mastermind. I want my mastermind to be cohesive and to help each other and to support each other. And I want everybody in there to be an awesome giver because that's how we all win together when we're all rowing in the same direction. That's a lot right there, Christian. So I'll take a break. You can ask another question or I can keep going, but that's the most foundational piece to building a mastermind group that's going to transform. Quite frankly, it's not about what's on week 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 that you're teaching. And it's not about do I use Zoom or do I meet in person? It's who's in the room.
That's awesome. And so let's kind of carry on a little bit further. So now that you kind of have that infrastructure, and I like really what you said there in regarding making sure, hey, they know kind of the beginner aspects. And then obviously your job is to do the intermediate or expert, whatever that category looks like. I love that. I love that approach. And by really dialing that in, then you don't have to worry about these individuals that are asking stupid questions almost and say, hey, how do I build a funnel or something like that stupid or something? You've already got that established. It's like now we can really ask some more higher level questions. So now with that being said, how do you deploy that effectively? Do you invite maybe guests that are higher, like one of your mentors, someone that's already achieved something better and successful, and obviously still leverage your credibility, but also leverage their credibility to attract, a higher clientele to your mastermind?
That's a good question. How do you get the right? Yeah. So I've heard that question a lot. That's a really good question. if you're building a mastermind, let me just rephrase this for those of you listening in, trying to crack the code on this thing. So some people think that like, okay, I got a mastermind, I'm going to teach it for 12 weeks or 12 months or whatever your length of time is. We're going to take people from this point in their life to this point in their life. Well, to get the best quality people in there, I got to have some really awesome bait sort of in the room. Like, I'm going to have this expert and this expert. We're going to have some really high level speakers talk at these intervals, because that sounds really cool, right? So two ways to think of this. One is, yes, that can work. But what it does ultimately, let's just do this relationally. So this is going to sound like, let's just do this relationally, because right, we all watch the sitcoms. I was watching a sitcom the other day. Jill and I were watching a rom-com the other day, and a guy was he was in a bar, and him and his buddy are like trying to attract like hotter people that they want to go out with. And so, right, so stupid rom-coms, right? It's probably an Adam Sandler movie or something really stupid like that. So their like plan was, they were thinking through and they practiced this out. They're like, do we get hotter guys to hang out with us so we attract hotter girls? Because then they'll be attracted to the hotter guy next to us and then we'll get a chance to talk to them. Or do we try to bring hotter girls over so hotter girls will feel comfortable hanging out with us with their like kind, you know? Oh my gosh, this is so tacky, but welcome to Adam Sandler's 7th grade movies, right? That's kind of where that model goes, unfortunately. If you're bringing in a hotter audience member, hotter leader in your community to be at the bar with you to attract a better group member, you're kind of cutting yourself off at the knees, because they're joining for that person, not for you. But here's the cool thing about this. The truth of personal relationships, as we've all come to understand more and more as we grow up in life, is that being authentic and being yourself at the bar is the way to meet the right people for you. And I want to meet the people that want to be with Chris Williams in Group Coach Nation's masterminds. I don't want to meet the people who are attracted to, I'll use Russell Brunson again. I think he's a phenomenal human. He attracts a different kind of mastermind member than I do. We're different. That's super cool, because it means, number one, I get to be authentic every day when I show up for work and it doesn't burn me out. That's nice. Number two, it means that the people who are attracted to me aren't attracted to Russell the same way, which just confirms this cool thing that there's enough people for you on planet Earth that want to be in your space, that can afford your expertise, that want to be changed by your process.
I love that. I love that. That's awesome, dude. I appreciate you diving deep into that and kind of really, setting it straight and having that right perspective. Now, let me ask you, when you do deploy it, okay, and you have that kind of strategy and kind of the infrastructure developed, what is that length, that proper length, if you will, to 12 months, 12 weeks, 6 weeks? And also my other question, Chris, is everybody's trying to create a mastermind. Where do you see the mastermind industry going? Is it increasing? Is there a lot of room for growth? And I kind of already know the answer to that, but what does that trajectory look like?
Oh yeah, let's go backwards here. So how long should the thing take? We'll answer that in a minute. Trajectory, where's this market going? How long is this phase going to be around? Tell you what, I read this book a long time ago when I was in like elementary school, called The Knights of the Round Table. Just saying, that was a mastermind. Then there's all kinds of examples in every world religion. Jesus and the 12 disciples, to name an easy one to pick on, mastermind. Also, we go back a couple hundred years ago in just the Industrial Revolution in America, all these huge CEO monsters that were either super cool or super evil, whatever however you want to lay them out there. They were creating masterminds and running them very effectively. This is not a new thing at all. It's been popularized lately, I'd say the past 10 years, because it's super easy digitally now to connect people and make that a marketable product. And that's really fun. So not a new thing, it's a human thing. We like connection. That's why we change faster in groups. That's not invented by a marketing company. That's the way humans are. So this isn't going away. The question is, will each of you listening in, will you be the person in your place of the market that you serve that leads the cool mastermind? That's the question. It's here to stay, because humans are. Are you going to be the person who's leading your community forward?
That's awesome. And so my follow-up question is, now that we know that that foundation is not moving, right, anytime soon, I know there's been a big push electronically, right? Zoom meetings, things like that. Have you seen the most effective way to deploy Mastermind electronically, or is it in person, or is it a combination of both? I'm just curious.
Well, I'll answer that in connection with how long should your mastermind be. So electronic or in person or length of mastermind, all of those form questions should be answered by what's the goal and what's the dynamic of the group. So if you're teaching something very tactical that requires a lot of Zoom calls, screen sharing, do this, then this to have this success, that's honestly easier in a Zoom virtual setting, because you can meet more regularly, a couple times a week, and give people homework. They can do it. They can come back and jump on another call for an hour. You can share things that way. That's super easy because the mechanics are there. If you're doing something that's more relational, this is just a networking group. Our pro level group at Group Coach Nation is not content driven. Our advanced group is here's how to build a mastermind. Our pro group is for people who are way past that. They're leading their space in digital life. And they just get together to talk about how they're changing the world and how we can change the world together more effectively and make connections. I don't deliver any content for that group. That group meets twice a year in person, like resorts, and then a couple times a quarter on Zoom calls based on the group's desire and who we're having in as expert speakers to help us understand a certain new thing in the market. So it kind of comes down to, I'm just giving you those examples of like extremes. What do you want to deliver? And there's some masterminds who meet I'm in a mastermind personally. We meet 4 times a year in person. And that mastermind also does 2 calls a week, every week. That's a little over the top to me. I can show up for the in-person ones. I don't want to show up every week, So you got to define, where you are.
I love that. And so how do you find you're in the industry, and I know you just have connections and network, but for someone that's obviously looking for a mastermind that would be included, they see the value of it, they get it, they understand, maybe they're not ready to deploy one yet for their own business, but they definitely want to intake on that. I know just from experience, I think we were just talking about it, and as I know my audience as well, they're keeping it, that on their radar, but they don't know where to start. They don't know exactly find the right one. And obviously, you have a lot of resources in regard to that.
So here's the easy answer. Reach out to Group Coach Nation. If you go to groupcoachnation.com, let me just kind of preface this and say the same thing you just said, just restate just to make sure everybody's clear on this. If you go to groupcoachnation.com and want to learn about building your own mastermind, obviously that's there. But if you want to go to groupcoachnation.com and you're like, hey, I'm just trying to figure out what mastermind I should join. I'm not looking to build my own. That's what we do. I just want to know who to join. Like, just drop us a message. Go to groupcoachnation.com, drop us a message, tell us, like, here's the industry I'm in, here's what I do, here's what I'm trying to accomplish. Like, tell us why you want to be in a mastermind, where you are, where you're trying to go. I am going to be shocked if we don't know a mastermind that you should be in, because all we have is thousands and thousands of people swirling around us who are building group coaching programs and masterminds. The cream of the crop of those people are pretty well connected to us and what we do. And it's hard for me now to find a niche or a transformation somebody wants and not know, oh, I know who you should talk to. I've known this person for 3 years. Be in their group. They get it done. We'll just point in the right direction, make a connection for you, and get you on their calendar.
Awesome. And so, like, with the clients that you've worked with that you've helped them kind of bridge that gap, find the right mastermind for them. What kind of results have you seen? Maybe just personally yourself, or through your clients that you've seen because they've been able to integrate their life and maximize that mastermind. I'd love to hear those client results, if you will.
Client results for people who've been in our mastermind or the ones that we've seen in other masterminds?
Well, either your mastermind or someone that you've been able to help connect to another mastermind because of your amazing connections.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just take it broadly for both. Here's what matters. Was the mastermind curated correctly? Was the host of the mastermind really focused on curating the right group that's going to transform together. Assuming that's been done correctly, then people, when they join whatever mastermind you want, they actually get results. Now, I can't sit here and guarantee that everybody listening in will get results if you join a mastermind, because you got to do your part. You got to make changes. But what happens is a lot of us show up every day in our personal life, our professional life, our internal spiritual head game life, mindset life, relationship life, physical health life, whatever you're doing. We show up with a lot of complexity that we think is swirling around us that keeps us from any clear direction, which keeps us from executing on the right strategic choices. Most of us, if they're listening to you, Christian, they're hustlers. They're listening to you because they want to know what to do and they're willing to work. It's just getting clarity and knowing what to do because I'm willing to do the right thing. That's what you get in a really good mastermind. And if you're the kind of person who says, dude, I'll do what it takes, I'm just sick of doing the wrong thing and hitting dead end streets, then find the right mastermind and join it and do what it takes, and you'll be blown away. You're going to get 10 years of progress done in a year.
I love that. Yeah, because I think a lot of individuals, it's like one of those things that they know that they need to do it. And then it's two, if they have done it before, then they have this negative experience because it was a bad mastermind. And the thing is you have to get over that paradigm or that limiting belief and say, hey, you know what? It's okay. Find another one, right? And we get that. We understand that concept. But then, just like you said, this is, your company, Group Coach Nation, instead of just, trial and error. Now, hey, your company has been able to identify the good ones and be able to get you into the right one. And that's why I wanted to have you on, because not only just the mastermind aspect, right, building it and developing the infrastructure and the power behind it in the industry, where it's going, but also, of course, hey, you know what, maybe I'm at this beginner level and I'm not sure exactly how to deploy it, how to effectively create it, and I'm still stuck and so forth, and getting yourself into that right mastermind. So I'm glad you kind of reviewed that whole thing, and really incredible value that you're bringing. Now, I did think this was really incredible. We were talking about this before you jumped on the podcast. And I just love this approach because I don't hear it that often, where you say, hey, you know what? We should leverage our skills and be able to educate and teach, not for monetary gain, but educate and teach those that are not that do not have access to what we have. And you're talking, third world countries, you're talking other individuals that just, struggle, whatever. I'd love to kind of get how that came about, that mindset, and obviously kind of what are you doing to help and do that, and facilitate that kind of growth because obviously we're all being more connected. So I'd love to hear your what that vision looks like for you, man.
And this makes me smile and makes my heart happier than anything else to talk about. I love this. So here's the backstory. I'll give you the now story, then the backstory. How about that? The conversation Christian and I were having was like, how do we take our knowledge and information and actually share it with people who could never, ever afford or have a chance to get access to this in a way that can actually change their lives? Okay. So in 2015, I was going through a lot of healing as a person. I'd been suicidal for years and was in therapy and was trying to get my life back on track. That's probably 2014. My therapist said, you need to start talking to people who have hope. I was completely hopeless. People in the world who have hope. I didn't think hope worked. Philosophically, religiously, personally, whatever you want to say. It was gone. I was done. I was about to check out. So started interviewing people I knew around town where I live that I thought were hopeful people. They just seemed like it. And I was pretty straightforward. I think this is BS. I don't think you have hope. I think you're just an optimistic person who's somehow avoiding the pain in your life and can't step up. I know it's a lot of information I'm dumping on you guys right now, but that's where it started. I interviewed a few people. Then I shared those interviews, just telling, here, I talked to so-and-so, here's what they said, this is incredible. I still don't think it's real, but it's incredible, with a few friends. And they were like, dude, you should have recorded those conversations. So I did. Next one I did, I was like, do you mind if I record this so I can listen to it later? Share it with my grandkids. I don't know. They're like, sure. Few more conversations. And I was like, I think I got a podcast. So again, I'm still hopeless. I'm still suicidal. I'm still healing from a childhood full of trauma. And I'm thinking, I'm going to start a podcast just because why not? I'm documenting people's really cool stories. They're nice enough to share them with me. I started a podcast called I Share Hope. Still out there in the world doing its thing. I interviewed 125 world leaders, heads of state, Olympians, Nobel Peace Prize winners, heads of like things like the World Health Organization, homeless people who were leading homeless communities, tribal leaders who were leading tribes of 30 people in nowhere land, leaders. And I asked them the same 5 questions about hope. Why'd they have it? How do they use it? What does it mean? That kind of thing. I got so many cool answers. But here's what really stuck with me. 2 things. One is hope is actionable. If it's just, I hope in something, that's pie in the sky, rainbows and unicorns. If you know where you want to go and you have a vision for how to get there, and there's somebody who can help you with clear steps on how to accomplish that, you can logically have hope that you can get there. Keep going, you'll sort it. The second thing I realized is most of these people, no matter how wealthy or how successful they are, how well known or how unknown they were, somebody gave to them when there was no chance of getting a return. Christian, I'm like tearing up saying that because I had heads of state and Nobel laureates and people who were leading insanely large communities, who were answering 5 questions of hope for me for 45 minutes, who would never, ever answer a call from Chris Williams because they simply wanted to answer those questions on a show called I Share Hope so they could give to other people for free what they had been given for free. So I'm trying to do the same thing back. I'm trying to figure out how can we put together a whole bunch of digital leaders we're doing through our pro level mastermind group, where we can impact the world and the people in my town who can't afford what I sell, and the people in Mozambique who can't afford what I sell, and the people in Ukraine right now who can't afford what I sell, can with a smartphone figure out how can I build something in this digital world we live in and change my life and change my community's life. If we can get that done, fuck yeah, we're getting something. We're getting somewhere, and I'm going to keep going.
That's awesome, man. And I really appreciate you sharing that story. And just like you said, I mean, the authenticity that you just shared and the vulnerability, the struggle that you had, and then be able to network with these individuals, but not the concept of I want something from them, but just to share what they have and that help them through that. And let me ask you, because I see this massive trajectory definitely with Elon Musk, and he's building his satellite stuff, and people are going to be more and more connected. And why that's so powerful is because now we can literally, we're already doing it, but we can do it at a higher level. And I know a lot of marketers and business people, we always look at return on ad spend, revenue, and a lot of these things we have to have different metrics, right? It's more of, okay, how many people can I impact? How many people can I love on? How many people can I give this information to with like you just said, with no expectation of getting something back other than just blessing them. And so obviously I know this has just been relatively recent, but I love, it's been on your mind for quite a while. I love to kind of get your response and like, what is your strategy or strategic approach to be able to do that? You see people becoming more connected. Definitely with this COVID, it's pushed us all online, which is a good thing. So the foundation's there, and now the opportunity is ripe. And I'd love to get your kind of approach, what that looks like, man.
I think it's a mindset thing more than an actionable set of steps, because I used to think more cynically, and I know we're all marketing and digital and whatever we all are in our businesses, and we're all cynical people because we see the scammers out there. But I used to think, like, let's take Elon Musk and his satellite connections, for instance, or Facebook, which we all have a love-hate relationship with, metaverse, whatever it is. Yes, there's a lot of bad that can be done. But these connections that are floating around us, both the big industry people that are connecting us and giving us platforms that, yeah, they're just in it for the data. They're just in it to change politics. They're just in it, whatever. I get that. Welcome to planet Earth. Go back 10,000 years ago. You'll find the same thing. That's humanity. Okay, there's some good ones and some bad ones, and people who are doing good and bad. Ultimately, though, there's a platform set out there that allows you and me to connect to literally almost anyone on this crazy cool rock we're floating around on together and do some good. That's it. I try to show up every day with that mentality and not, well, sure, I guess we're going to do some Facebook outreach. bleepity bleep, Facebook. No, like, man, today Facebook is still up and running and they haven't shut it down yet. I bet I could find somebody out there that we could help. And that's the way I started.
That's awesome. It's just those incremental things. Sometimes, Chris, what I found is like it's not this big, massive, strategic, like you said, this strategic approach, this amazing thing, this game plan. It's those small things that say, you know what, I'm going to help the guy next door to me, or the guy that's on the street that I walk by or drive by every time. He's sitting there asking for money, right, and helping that individual, right. And like you said, it is a total mindset paradigm shift, and I think that's just awesome. I love your heart in that. Because definitely seeing the opportunity there, I think it's going to be really cool to see what you're going to be doing here, Chris. Now, again, I just want, before I let you go, man, I just want to first just really thank you for just the value that you brought, not just from the mastermind and how to and where to find them, and obviously the knowledge, your incredible expertise in regards to that, but also obviously your vision and sharing the vision behind it, and really, kind of getting us to think, hey, how do we leverage our skills and give them out for free and with no return on expectation of return. And Chris, where can our audience reach out to you? I know groupcoachnation.com, but also other social media platforms as well, man.
Yeah. And I'll say that, but let me just say one thing first about this offering stuff for people for free. Everybody's got that heart in them. We can all do that. Then we can all do our part, but make sure you're making money before you just start going all in, giving away everything for free. And I don't mean to make that like live selfishly the next 2 years of your life. I'm saying, no, it only takes a couple months to figure out how to make money in this business. It's easy. The thing is, you got to put on your own mask before you put on the mask of the person next to you on the airplane, right? Same thing when it comes to helping the world entrepreneurially. You got to have a sustainable system that you're able to run so you can take your focus away from your own breathing so you can help someone. Okay. That's really critical. That sounds selfish to some people. I used to go after them, put a mask on everybody else first in the airplane before myself. It's just a matter of seconds before you collapse. So build that sustainable model, and then believe it or not, you'll have time and money to help. And believe it or not, you'll have a more ironed out system to share to the rest of the world for free. Like, you can do this. So do it the right way. To answer your question, how can you get in touch with us? Groupcoachnation.com. All right, let's just talk about that for a second. You're going to find out a way to sort out, are you a beginner, an advanced, or a pro level person in the way we see this whole group coaching and mastermind building process. And underneath each of those, once you define, oh, this is me, then you'll be able to say, oh, there's a bunch of free resources down there to kind of help me do whatever I need to do next, make decisions I got to make, get a strategy around that. So that's Group Coach Nation. Sort out where you are, beginner, advanced, pro. Next, social media. Chris Williams HQ is pretty much my handle on everything. But honestly, just Google Chris Williams, Group Coach Nation, or Group Coach Nation, Chris Williams, and you'll find us. Shoot us a message. Be happy to help any way we can.
Awesome. And guys, those links will be in the description below. So make sure you connect on those, click on those, and of course, reach out to Chris. Now, Chris, before we let you go, is there any last words that you'd like to share with our audience?
I'd say this all the time. Do work, get results. Just make sure you're doing the right work.
Love it. Guys, that is Chris Williams. Make sure you reach out. Make sure you follow up with him. Make sure you connect with him and what he's got going on. That is Journey with Christian D. Evans podcast. Until next time, be uncommon if you can.